Hi y'all, this is Miss Haas, and as we start our new material this week, I wanted to just review last week's response document real quick, and if you need to retake last week's quiz after that, you are welcome to do that as well. So these were the answers for the first couple of blanks on the questions. An electron dot diagram helps you know the symbol and how many electrons are in the outer energy level for a given element. The group an element is in will help you know what other group it's likely to bond with to form compounds. Periods are rows on the periodic table and show increasing atomic number. Looking at the periodic table, we have different regions on it. On the left, we have metals, and we'll talk more about what the properties are of the metals. Along the zigzag line, on this periodic table there are pinkish color, are the metalloids, and then on the far right we have the nonmetals. The example electron dot diagrams, hopefully you tried those out. So again, you look at the periodic table and see what group they're in to find out how many valence electrons they should have. So magnesium was in group 2, so we know it has 2 valence electrons. So the correct dot diagram would have been this top one. Potassium, again, we find it in group 5, which tells us it has 5 valence electrons, so that is what you should draw in your dot diagram. So the correct one was this lower one. Bromine is in group 7, so we expect it to have 7 valence electrons. If you counted all of these up on the lower one, that was 17. And when you look, that is, well, it's not even its atomic number. That would be more like its total number of electrons. But on the dot diagrams, we're not drawing all of the electrons, only the ones in the outermost shell, and that should not be more than 8. So you should never see more than 8 dots around these. So that was not correct. The top one was correct. And our last example was krypton, which is in that 8th column. It does have 8 valence electrons. So the lower one was our correct dot diagram there. Some of our properties of metals and nonmetals. Metals are shiny in luster. They are ductile, meaning they can be pulled into thin wires, like when you think of electrical wiring. Malleable means they can be hammered into thin sheets, like if you think of sheets of foil, similar to what you use in your kitchen. Most metals are solids at room temperature. They are good heat conductors, thermals referring to heat, and good electrical conductors. Nonmetals are usually more dull. They're not as shiny. They are brittle, meaning if you try to hammer them into thin sheets, they're just going to crack and break. Most nonmetals are liquids or gases at room temperature. They are good insulators of heat and electricity. And moving on. If you looked at the quiz, this was not one of the slides in your answer document, but this was part of a question you saw on that periodic table quiz. Table A, hopefully you figured out, is referring to metals. Iron, silver, copper are all shiny metals that you think of. Table B was showing examples of nonmetals, helium, carbon, sulfur. You had a question about which one would show characteristics of both of these tables. That would have been metalloids. Metalloids show some characteristics of both metals and nonmetals. So that's just a quick review, and we'll jump into this week's material. Thanks for watching.